this is talking my walking. I am Rodrigo Ribeiro, just another voice in the wilderness. There are many people that cynically believe that those who believe in social justice, in equality, are naive, don't understand the system, don't understand the nature of the human condition, don't understand that we are all focused in egotistic objectives and goals. We are these individualistic creatures that only care about us and about our core, the core group, family, business, friends, or interests, or whatever it is. That we don't care about the collective well-being because the thing is very difficult to debunk this, because by understanding, by having the perception that we are like that, and nothing wrong with the system, and if we are like that, by being social beings, at the same time we deny our social condition by making everything about individuals. That's the culture, and that's why we, if we do not understand the problem with culture, language framing, and the ideology, how it works in the process of building our understanding of ourselves as humans, as social beings, as individuals, and how we understand, how we build our relations. We buy into these narratives, and we laugh when people like so many leftists that believe. That's one of the big differences between what means to be a leftist and to be a conservative or a far right person, is that the left believes in the common good, in the collective good, in social justice. Not because they don't understand this, it's exactly because they understand they live in the system that exactly suppresses it at all levels. That's why, and while the right in general, the conservatives, the center right, the Christian right, the far right, the nationalistic right, the fascists, they believe in the primacy of private property, the enclosure of the commons, manufacture scarcity, no? Inequality. They don't believe in social injustice, but they don't believe in social justice. They might not talk about that they want social injustice because they want they like to fund those that are wealthy. Some of them they like to build charities and to become philanthropists. Okay, but the thing is, they see it like that. They 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 believe in the pyramid scheme. They believe that the society is like that, and those on the top are there because they deserve it. They believe in the meritocratic, the sham of the meritocracy sham. Not because, again, I always like to to make this caveat: merit exists. I'm not. I'm not. I'm absolutely sure that we need to have a system of that 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 measures to punish and to reward. There are things that need to be punished and things that need to be rewarded. But that's one thing. That's one reality. Another thing is to have a system to punish, uh, to cause unnecessary suffering in order to keep that people dependent, in a state of dependency, in a state of the need to search for a job, any job, unnecessary job, absolutely what a shitty job. I mean, all kinds of jobs that society should not even, we should not even have those jobs because they are, many of them are useless, and they can be damaged for the real economy, for the society, for the environment, and for many things. It would be better that they didn't exist at all. And sometimes those are the ones that are best rewarded. So all this disconnection makes people become cynical, which is the worst approach. Because by being cynics, we just allow evil. We are on the side of justifying evil. It's the wrong kind of skeptic. Cynical skepticism. I mean, any kind of cynicism is bad. And those that ridicule you because you believe in social justice, what else should you believe? You are a social being. Everything you need you can only survive in an environment that that thrives, that the society, that all people are because if you don't have if the mentality is not for the collective well-being, we become to exclude people, to make to look at the pyramid and look at the pyramid only through the lenses of meritocracy. And then we don't feel responsible at all because we attach the responsibility to those that we call losers. It's their responsibility. It was only caused by bad choices and whatever, poor choices and bad decisions and this and that and so on and so forth. So we justify social injustice, and of course we therefore we ridicule those that believe in social justice, because it seems as if those that believe in social justice don't understand that many people go through their bad situations because of poor choices, because of their how easy they fall for addictions, for example. I mean, many problems that have to do with personality traits. This is true, but this is true about all of us. We are full of, we all have many flaws. You know, we are not perfect. None of us is perfect. And this is, I mean, and it's those I mean, the environment, the socio-cultural and political and economic environment where we live, the building blocks of the narratives, the ideas, the values, the principles, the rules that through which our society is organized. This environment exists where we have to survive and fight with each other and become and feel entitled to what we have, because we have worked harder than other ones, or we are smarter than other ones, or we are this, or we are that. All these individualistic perspectives makes us vulnerable in many levels, because by denying our social roots, and by not understanding us as cultural beings, as this, where this, the confluence of these two characteristics of the human beings, how deep, how how do they really work in shaping who we are, in shaping how we perceive ourselves, and how build our relations with others, with the world, with animals, with everything, and how we become these that we don't care about that. For example, as I said, social justice just becomes some just be, so only naive people would want to really fight for social justice. They don't see that there is no social. Of course, it doesn't exist, but it doesn't exist. Why? Instead of being cynic, you should ask yourself. You should have the question and look for the answer. Why and how the situation? Why? Where does it come from? Why do we have a society that deprives people of the means to live and brags about it? Why allowing people or animals or whatever die of hunger or diseases or curable diseases, or all the things that we do, and we, instead of asking the right questions, we use cynicism as a as a as a as a as a as a bad joke, as a way to avoid responsibly. That is how we cut ourselves from any responsibility, as if we should not be responsible, as we should not have agency. I mean, political agency, economic agency, social and cultural agency in the process by which our environment, I mean, the rules, the laws, the institutions, national and international, as if it's not, as if we are not supposed uh, to have a saying, to have a participation, instead of this mentality that we expect and hope that some savior, some hero, some leader, some this, some that will do the will change the situation, will change the reality. So this is really, I mean, we live in such a, you know, for all of us that spend some time in social media, because I don't read newspapers, not in physical form, not in online. I don't read much. I mean, I read some articles and something, but basically, I don't. These days, I don't read many books, but I listen to people. I listen a lot to authors and other and reviews of books that I think they are interesting, because I want to understand the concepts and what's going on, because we all need we all are bits and pieces of other people's knowledge and experience, and that's what we are. And if we want to understand the world, we need it. Okay, but we could not even avoid it. We could not even be who we are without that. But that is dangerous. That's why we need to understand our sociocultural. We need to have a good concept of a sound concept of our sociocultural identity, of our sociocultural condition. Because the problem is exactly that is inherent, that we can fall prey of the predators, of those that lack. I mean, it happens with sects, with the religious sects. It happens with all types of tribalization, political tribalization, racial tribalization. I mean, all types of tribalization that we are subjected to this by looking, exactly because when we start outsourcing our understanding, instead of building our understanding of things throughout the conscious development of our own cognitive tools, and we outsource it, looking for guidance, and then we see a savior or a hero or some sort of prophet or guru or whoever it is, that, and then we stop using our critical and analytical skills to become a follower. But while we preserve our individuality, but our individuality becomes a tool. We don't lose our individuality. We don't lose our ability to make choices, but our choices and decisions are conditioned and shaped by rules, by principles, by values, by narratives, by language framing, by the ideological and cultural language framing that was crafted by others in order to control you, us, as many as possible. While we still thinking we are, this is our, it has been our choice. That is, we still see ourselves as free people, that we chose this because this is the best for us. But we do it because we don't understand the flaws, or we don't understand the limits of our socio-cultural condition, which for me is the basis. And is so many, that's why when we go to the social media, I mean, it's so, it is such a cacophony. It is impossible. We share information with each other, okay? But we don't share conscience. Conscience, we need to develop it ourselves. The conscious transformative process and the training of our own critical analytical skills, it is an individual process. And what we need is to create a culture in the society, in the civilization, where the main culture provides us with tools, cultural, social, intellectual, I mean, whatever tools are necessary, that our cognitive, psychocognitive development will make us more resilient, more immune to be deceived. That's what we need to have as a culture. But that requires the development of our critical analytical skills, which they are innate, but they need to be developed, because there are so many limits, there are so many flaws. We take logic as reason, which is nothing to do. I mean, we use logic to have good reasoning, but logic by itself is just logic. It just doesn't make you. It doesn't necessarily. In many cases, it doesn't. It doesn't give you the truth about anything. The truth needs to be in the sound, the facts, the analysis of the whys and the hows. Okay? Otherwise, we just become cynics. You know, and we could not care less and alienate it. And we just, I mean, it's so many things. I mean, this is not conspiracy theories. We live in a web of deceit, but that web of deceit has a reason to exist. You might think that this web of deceit, this all kinds of weapons of mass deception and mass distraction that exist in our this manufactured environment, this is not natural. It is created, our socio-cultural environment with an economy and politics and this and that. It is not natural. It is natural that we have the ability to create them, but their nature is manufactured, is artificial, is a human creation, is a cultural, ideological creation that is used to transform reality, to create a manufactured reality on the top of the natural reality, or on the submission of the natural reality, the environment and the ecosystems and the earth systems. And we need to be aware of this in an holistic way that allows us to free ourselves from never believe that you can totally become free of prejudice, free of being deceived, free of being manipulated, and so on and so forth. That is not going to happen just because it's part of our nature, our sociocultural nature. But, but it's also our responsibility to to individual responsibility and the responsibility for the group, for our participation in society, for our active participation in society, that we take social justice. You know, first of all, we need to understand that our species survived through that we develop the empathy and compassion towards each other. That solidarity, cooperation, reciprocity, and trust are at the core of the survival of the human species. It has to do with that we have a language to communicate. That is our particularity, that we develop that language within a group. That's why we have the inner group and the outer group. But it doesn't mean that we have an inner group and outer group. It doesn't mean that we need to have a culture of hostility against the outer group. That is another assumption that is a fraud, that is a lie. We don't need to have a culture of hostility, of hate towards the outer group. Okay? We can have the opposite. We can have a culture for cooperation. And it is for us easy to understand. But if we already have all these principles of the superiority and inferiority within our group, this individualistic and this perception of the individual, the pursuit of self-interest as the essence of what a human being is, we build a culture that is dysfunctional, and it is a dehumanizing culture, not only against the outer group but against the inner group. It is a perpetual war against life, against humanity. And that's why these people that laugh at the social justice, what is that? That doesn't exist. Of course, doesn't exist. But does it mean that we are not able to build that, or to not only to believe, but to build a system? What is social democracy? Just because we are destroying it, we did enjoy it, and many people were pretty happy with it. And you know, some decades ago, maybe a century, I don't remember exactly when, in the United States, the wealthy people were paying 90% of income tax, or whatever it was called, I don't know exactly, of a wealth tax. Yeah. That it seems absurd now, but you should ask why. Why was it fair then, and is now perceived as an absurdity, as obscene? What you need to ask is, what kind of changes that happened at the cultural, ideological, and social level to make us now believe that we cannot touch the entrepreneurial class, the investors. Our jobs depend on them. They are the job creators. Why do we believe in this shit? When in every society, or most societies, the most jobs are created by enterprises, small businesses, medium enterprises, small and medium enterprises, and micro enterprises, and self-employed people. This is the truth. The big guys now, I mean, you can see that there is so much money that was created since 2008, the crisis of 2007, 2009, and so much of that money has been being used by big corporations to buy back their own shares instead of investing in developing the businesses and developing and in research and other things. And that seems fair to you? That seems fair to you, that money is created out of nothing to be used for speculative purposes by the rentier class? We should not organize and fight this iniquity. This is iniquity, besides being inequality. So my point, my basic point is that we need to focus. You can believe in capitalism, socialism, communism. You can believe in whatever it is you believe. If we misunderstand, and we do, our socio-cultural condition, and we defend liberal principles and all these ideas of freedom. I mean, who doesn't want to feel free, to not be subjected to be oppressed, or to have to have the intervention of in our lives? Of course, none of us want that. But freedom is relational. As truth is relational, as justice is relational, as trust is relational. I don't have trust in abstraction. I have to trust something in relation to something. Or someone. I have to trust someone, or I have to trust a body of values, of principles, or an ideology, or whatever it is. But the trust bond, if based on lies, is a tool for social engineering and for individual imprisonment, ideological and cultural imprisonment, colonization, mental colonization, psychocognitive colonization. And that's why we need to understand these things, how they really operate, instead of buying in these I don't find the word right now. These frames that are given by disciplines such as behavioral psychology, or sociopsychology, or evolutionary psychology, or evolutionary biology, and so on and so forth. These sciences, these social sciences, or even they are not social, they all, there is always language framing, which is always ideological framing, and the mentality of the pursuit of self-interest, is individualistic mentality, is pervasive across all fields. And we need to understand it, how this pervasive mentality influences and shapes and creates boundaries for even for scientific investigation and research. And they come up with ideas that are that are pretty biased towards mainstream politics and mainstream economics and mainstream worldviews of what a human being is. But we need to see beyond that. We need to be observers. We need to observe how we behave, how others behave, and where does it come from? Where the beliefs come from? Why do I believe what I believe? Well, it's just free choice. I mean, and how the tricks of indoctrination and instrumentalization through the weaponization of values, through the framing of a certain ideological and language framing, they create that we absorb by just being exposed. We don't need anything else. That's our condition, sociocultural. We don't need anything special, we just need to be exposed. Then repetition and mimicry and social and the social norms and all the rest of the things, the group conformity and all the rest that goes with it makes the rest. And when we this process doesn't this process of instrumentalization, usually most of the time we are not aware of it while it is happening, and when we become something, our identity, our sociocultural ideological identity is built, our psycho-sociocultural identity is built most of the time without our true participation, in the sense that we have a conscious participation, that we know, that we understand what is going on inside our brains while we are being indoctrinated. Does it happen when we are child? Yes, but it happens throughout our adult life as well. We are exposed. That's why it's very important that we care about what we expose ourselves, what kind of environment. If you are in your living room and you have the TV on, you have the choices, the preferences, and all these things that, okay, you watch, whatever it is, it doesn't matter, what kind. It is your preferences. It reinforces your belief system. It reinforces it makes you feel good and blah blah blah. And you just get what you get is it's something that is framed ideologically, language frame, ideological and cultural framing. Okay, socio-cultural framing. Nonetheless, you take it as the truth, because your main narratives that exist in your brain approve it, or are we just don't see. We most of the time don't even care We just follow the logic. We don't even care that it might be necessary to do some research in order to see if we are being played. Because we are. Because the existing system, the pyramid scheme, which is composed of these castes and classes, castes and subcastes and micro class. I mean, this is a complex system. It's not just the upper class and the bourgeoisie and the bottom. Okay, this is a complex system, and this complex system is organized in ways to prevent that we support. All the things is to support the not only the base but the rest of the pyramid scheme, to support the top in one way or another. And since that goes against the collective generally it goes against the collective well-being, it is exploitative, it produces social injustice, inequality, and causes unnecessary suffering. So it goes against our understanding, because we know it. We don't like it. We don't like to be treated unjustly. Even it comes at early age. We don't like it. We don't like to perceive that we are being treated unfairly. We might, when we are child, sometimes we confuse our frustrations with being, and when we are adults, we do too. That our frustrations or our whims are not satisfied, and we feel that we are treated unfairly. And sometimes it's not true. That's why we always need to go through the things to understand the difference between one thing and the other. And this is only a process that requires conscious transformation. That's why we need conscious always to have. This is a point. This is this needs to be part of the culture of liberation since young age. That we understand the limits of the human intelligence, the human ability, and then we just, that culture to make us more human by understanding as in a holistic way, as our species, the socio-cultural nature of our species as better as possible. That we just grow by understanding and by being not only for our individual freedom, but for our collective. That's my main point. That we enjoy individual freedoms, but by producing collective well-being, because in the end, the feedback is our own well-being. And those that don't believe it, because they have sociopathic traits, or narcissistic traits, or megalomaniacals, or psychopaths, or whatever, or they are the ones that need to be debunked. That we must not look for them for an example, because they will try to tell you that's what is the reality of our lives. That those people that try to tell us that we need to follow them if we want to be free, if you want to be rich, if you want to be happy, if you want to do this, if you want to do that. And we fell prey for them. And this is the reality of religious sects, political sects. I mean, all kinds of cults, technofixism, technoscientism. I mean, all kinds of transhuman. So many cults. This is not even religions; they are cults. And when there is a cult, there is somebody that wants to profit out of it. And those somebodies usually, they have sociopathic traits. They not doesn't matter if they are innate or acquired. Psychopathic traits, narcissistic, megalomaniacal. They they can come in any shape or form, and they do. And they use all means necessary to achieve their objectives. So that's us, those that want, that understand that social justice is not a luxury. The collective well-being is not a luxury. Is the way that we can build a humanized society that will revert on our well-being as individuals, because we will be rewarded with that. And you can see that when it happens in your life. Otherwise, we believe in a culture of domination and enslavement and exploitation that ruins our humanity. And that's not who we are. And that's why I would like people to, those that ridicule the values of the values and the principles of what a human being, of what humanity and society should be, they should know that maybe we could have much better lives, much more meaningful lives, meaning with meaning, not meaning through stuff, not meaning through social positions, not meaning through the limited accumulation of wealth. What kind of principles are there? What kind of principles are those that you can only be happy if you have a certain item? I mean, if I make my happiness depend on me having a Ferrari, and I know that I will never be able to acquire one, I will have to be unhappy out of a stupid justification, instead of trying to understand what does this idea that I only can be only happy if I will have a Ferrari comes from? Where does it, or where did it came from? Why don't I want to understand why we are conditioned and manipulated and deceived to think in certain ways, to perceive reality in certain ways, to perceive ourselves in certain ways, to relate with others and with reality in certain ways. And we can, and instead of thinking that we are so, we are so smart, we can. You see, the other people, they are all stupid, and they don't understand. And how about you? How about me? I know. I when I look back, what I look in my life, since I can remember when I was a teenager, it's manipulation. Deception, instrumentalization. That's what you see, and that what you can see also is the fight you need to have in order to survive it. And especially when you don't have any help, because those who want to help you, such new age, because I went through that process of new age stuff and all this, that is again only part of the problem, because they are not liberating you. That's what I'm trying to talk about. the whatever was the solutions for my problems, that I didn't like my job, I didn't like my work, I didn't like so many things about society, and I saw the environmental destruction and this and that and so on and so forth. But the solutions that were available, the processes by which they were available, they were not to try to liberate me. They were trying to further instrumentalize me into things that would not actually, that would not allow me to challenge the existing paradigm, the existing societal, economic, and political paradigm. And that's where you need to understand, to go to the core of the problems and try to understand what are the roots. If you want a good diagnosis, you need to understand the true causes of the problems. You cannot find solutions, or at least solutions that are going to deal with the roots of the problems, if you don't understand the causes. This is the reality. So that's why when I go and I can analyze, I can see how many times I have been deceived, and look there, okay? Don't look there. Nobody tells you that. You don't look there, look there. No, they do it in ways because they want followers. They want to, it's always the same principle. Okay, and that's why there is no social justice. If the principle is that you follow people that are going to have some gain out of you being a follower, out of you being a follower of one of the cults, or several cults at once, while you think the cult is telling you the truth about reality and about yourself and about society and about the relations with the creator and about whatever it is. And this is possible because of our socioculture condition, the sociocultural condition of human nature. But this is also this can be also become irrelevant, and we can use the same skills we have as sociocultural beings to overcome and think about a society and a civilization that is truly humanized, complex society, because we can live in human ways as small communities. But since we now have this complex, we need to have a culture that allows us to understand that we need a culture of liberation adapted for the complexity of our big communities, of our actually of a global civilization, because that's what we have now. And we need to understand it. This is not something that we can outsource or we can avoid. We can avoid it. We will be probably not doing nothing of what I'm saying, and probably that will dictate the fate of humanity. Yeah. And I'm just a guy that nobody listens to my words, because I believe that there is some genuine value in them, and I'm not bragging. I don't think that I'm a great thinker. I just think that I try to see through the bullshit. But I don't care what kind of bullshit. It can come with a stamp saying academic, saying scientific, saying whatever it is. I don't care about that. I care about my own judgment, my ability to discern through the language framing, the ideological framing, the sociocultural framing, these mechanisms and to understand by myself using using many sources of knowledge and information, of course, but then using my own skills to see through it and to understand by comparing it with reality, by making it, how does it fit in the reality, in the socio, the economic, the political reality that we have? How does it allow me to have a comprehensive understanding of the reality where I live and how people behave and everything else? Exactly. Okay, that will be all for today. Thanks for listening. If someone dares to go all the way through, I really, I really am grateful. It's not being grateful, is being that, I mean, I think I tried, I sincerely, I try, I do believe that I'm trying to be as intellectually honest as it is humanly possible. And I mean, I it's what I think that's the kind of these monologues that I have almost every day or every second day, that I try to improve this worldview through the understanding of our the limits, but also the potentialities of of our humanity, of what we, I mean, and 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 I try it. It gives meaning to my life. Actually, it's at the age of, I remember, I'm a very limited person in many things, and I have very limited resources, uh, and even some health issues. But I mean, I this gives meaning to my life, to try to see through all the it's a it's challenging, but it's also rewarding. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for listening. I will be back soon.